In 1956, MGM cut an 11-minute scene from Forbidden Planet featuring Anne Francis and her pet tiger, too provocative for 1950s censors. It explained why the tiger attacked Altaira after her first kiss, revealing a darker meaning hidden in the film. In 1952, two matte painters, Irving Bloch and Alan Adler, pitched Fatal Planet to MGM. Sci-fi was then seen as cheap entertainment, but their story envisioned a planet as a canvas for fear, wonder, and technology. Initially rejected, the pitch resurfaced by 1954 as interest in space and television grew. MGM invested $1.9 to $2 million, far above the genre's usual budget, to create Forbidden Planet, with custom sets and a strong cast including Leslie Nielsen, Anne Francis, and Walter Pidgeon. The gamble redefined science fiction, showing it could be serious and spectacular. The story, originally set in 1972, was moved to the 23rd century on Altair 4. Borrowing from Shakespeare's The Tempest, Dr. Morbius became a futuristic Prospero, Altaira took Miranda's role, and the monsters were manifestations of the human mind. Fred M. Wilcox, new to sci-fi, directed the film like Shakespeare in space, no jokes, no winks, balancing surreal visuals with human drama. Screenwriter Cyril Hume added psychological depth, turning monsters into symbols of desire and repression, and making the story as much about the human soul as about aliens. Walter Pidgeon brought gravitas to Morbius, seeing the film as more than camp, while 23-year-old Anne Francis shocked audiences with her pioneering miniskirt costumes almost a decade before fashion caught up. Executives were nervous. Spain banned the film until 1967, and conservative theaters backed out. Yet the look stuck. Barefoot, innocent, and futuristic, Altaira became an icon, not just for her beauty, but for the way she defied expectations. Francis didn't just wear the future, she embodied it. Leslie Nielsen played Commander Adams, the moral commanding leader before he was known for comedy. He looked perfectly at home on a spaceship bridge, a precursor to the captain's audiences would later revere. Nielsen joked that the real star was Robbie the robot, and he wasn't wrong. Warren Stevens played Doc Ostro, whose final words, "monsters," foreshadowed the terrifying revelation. The real threat wasn't outside, it was inside. Monsters of the ED struck audiences like a hammer. Stevens' off-screen death was quiet but horrifying. The Krell's ancient machine didn't just fail, it consumed him. Robbie's charm came from a combination of stuntman Frankie Darro inside the suit and Marvin Miller's uncredited voice. The robot was friendly, deadly, and mysterious, a new kind of character. Forbidden Planet premiered not in Hollywood, but at the Southeastern Science Fiction Convention in Charlotte on March 3rd to 4th, 1956. Hollywood came later, on March 23rd, at Grauman's Chinese Theater. Unlike most sci-fi, it opened big, with CinemaScope and stereophonic sound, and ran 6 months at Grauman's. The score wasn't traditional. Lewis and Baby Baron created electronic tonalities using circuits, feedback, and static. By 1956 standards, it wasn't music, but it changed the rules anyway. Reviews were mixed. Critics struggled with Shakespearean echoes, psychology, and monsters. Some saw brilliance, others just saw robots and color. The film didn't need instant approval. It was built for the long game. It earned just under $3 million, a modest $210,000 profit, ranking 31st among 1956 films. But its legacy mattered more. In 1957, it earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Special Effects. Handmade, strange, and imaginative, the nomination signaled a shift in cinema. A lost scene finally explained a long-standing mystery. Dr. Ostro noted that only a virgin could tame a unicorn, paralleling Altaira's control over her tiger. MGM cut it in 1956 as too suggestive. Without it, the tiger's attack after her first kiss seems random, but it symbolized lost innocence and control. For nearly 20 years, the scene existed only in Philip MacDonald's novelization. MGM tried to destroy all prints, but in 1977, a forgotten work print resurfaced, revealing the unicorn scene, alternate takes, and raw sound. Restorations on Laserdisc, DVD, and Blu-ray finally showed Altaira as more than a space ingenue, a metaphor for innocence, sexuality, and Hollywood's hidden boundaries. Another controversial scene showed Altaira swimming, seemingly nude but wearing a skin-colored bodysuit. It scandalized audiences and morality groups, even causing some theaters to pull the film, though MGM confirmed nothing indecent occurred. In 1972, a re-release cut over 6 minutes, including the swimming scene and flirtatious exchanges, giving younger audiences only the tamer, G-rated version. Spain banned the film for over a decade, citing miniskirts and the swimming scene, and it didn't screen there until 1967. Anne Francis had nearly worn a fully modest silver jumpsuit, covering her from neck to toes, but MGM rejected it as too tight, sparkly, and sexy. Behind the drama, Forbidden Planet was a technical marvel. The painted desert was a 350-foot cyclorama, lit by hundreds of bulbs to perfectly match the artificial sun. The 167-foot spaceship and 4 massive sound stages pushed the budget to $2 million. Inside, a 16-foot plexiglass globe reflected light and crew, while the Krell lab used 50,000 feet of cabling and 110 switches to make panels pulse like an alien intelligence. Every effect relied entirely on human ingenuity. Robbie the robot consumed $125,000 of the $1.9 million budget, 7%, making him the centerpiece. Inside the 7-foot-tall metal and rubber suit, actor Frankie Darro endured heat, darkness, and partial electrification. Robbie moved, blinked, spun, and spoke with lights and gears, creating a sense of life unseen in previous sci-fi. Robbie's rules mirrored Isaac Asimov's laws: protect humans, obey orders, and never harm a person, even if it meant freezing in the face of the id monster. He refused to fight because the monster was part of Morbius himself, an ethical robot decades before ethics became a sci-fi trope. The soundtrack was another first. Lewis and Baby Baron built circuits to generate electronic tonalities, a fully electronic score. Each circuit had its own personality, dying when overloaded, leaving a unique sound that Baby Baron painstakingly cut and spliced by hand. Inspired by cybernetics, they treated machines as living, co-creating the music as it lived and died. The ID monster was hand-animated by Joshua Meter, frame by frame on translucent vellum. Barely visible, it shimmered through the ship's force field, terrifying precisely because it was invisible. Critics later noted the audacity. The monster wasn't a thing. It was an idea. Freud made it real. Morbius's subconscious powered the creature. The Krell machine turned hidden thoughts into reality. Jealousy, desire, and denial, all buried in Morbius's mind, manifested as the monster. It attacked when he lost control, protecting Altaira from perceived threats, punishing Morbius instead of her. Altaira's innocence, her romance with Commander Adams, fueled the creature further. Every emotional twinge in Morbius's mind amplified the ID. He didn't summon it, it was him, a Freudian force made flesh. Critics later noted the dark, almost incestuous undertones. The monster existed to protect Altaira, yet destroyed her father in the process.